Hello, I'm Jay Fisher with C3 Partners. As you probably know, we've been engaged by the Wisconsin IPA to help roll out a quality reporting program. In about the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, all the members of the IPA who were covered under the program have submitted data, which we've analyzed and assembled into a series of dashboards. If you've not seen yours yet, it should be emailed out to you shortly. And then the purpose of this video is to help explain or understand what are the contents of that dashboard and how you should interpret it. So let's get started. We've created a dashboard here that's based on a demo. It's not one of the actual clinics, but similar to what most of you would see. As you can see in this upper section, there are three quality measures. Each clinic will have their own quality measures based on their specialty profile, but everyone has three. Your three may be different from what's showing up on this particular dashboard. But essentially what you're going to see is a section that describes your quality measures and then your clinic's performance on those measures. And your performance will be based on a denominator, which is the number of encounters that are pertinent to each individual measure. So this dummy data shows about 1,000 encounters for each of the three measures. And then the numerator identifies the number of encounters within that population that were compliant with the requirements of the measure, resulting in a performance rate. So in the case of this demo clinic, measure 128, preventive care and screening for BMI, the physicians were compliant with that measure 96% of the time, which is just slightly below the Wisconsin IPA overall compliance of around 99%. Not bad. And so you'll be able to see that on each of the measures that you've submitted. What was your clinic's performance and how do you compare on that specific measure to all the clinics in the IPA who reported that particular measure? Then next, what we've done is we've calculated an aggregate score for each clinic. And that aggregate score is based on the sum of the denominators or the total encounters across all three measures divided into the sum of the numerators for that set of measures for that client. So in the case of our demo client, their aggregate score is a 95.8, which compares to an aggregate score of across the IPA of 80.31%. Now, this IPA average score is the average of all clinics who reported this specific set of three measures. So it's not across all clinics. It's the clinics that are I guess you would say peers or have similar practice to yours. So that's how you compare. That's how your performance is displaying and how you compare to your colleagues in the IPA. This lower section of the dashboard puts you into a slightly broader context. Every year, CMS calculates a set of benchmarks on all the performance measures, quality measures that they support. And the benchmarks for this year are based on submissions into CMS programs in the calendar year of 2022, which is the last year or in which a full year worth of content was available to calculate the performance benchmarks. And the way these benchmarks are interpreted should be reasonably clear. So if we take a look at measure 128 for our demo clinic, who achieved a 96% performance rate, on measure 128, a 96% is in the 10th decile. So this particular clinic performed better than almost in the top 10% of all physicians in the country. Whereas if we take a look at measure 130, their achieved score of 92%, while it looks good as a raw score and is better than the IPA average, on a national ranking, on a national basis, that 92% only shows up in about the second decile. In other words, about 80% of the physicians in the country reported better than 92% on Measure 130. So that's a sense of how to interpret the dashboard that you're about to receive or you should have shortly received, um, which will compare you against your WIPA colleagues and against against a national platform.